Back in September 2014, I was racing my bike in the National Capital Tour, a 3-day stage race in Canberra, Australia. There was a rider on stage 1 who absolutely demolished the field. No one had really heard of him. He'd been racing in the US, he'd cleaned up a bunch of races in New Zealand, and he'd made his way to Australia and got a ride with the domestic team racing the National Capital Tour and a week later the Tour of Tasmania. Over those 2 weeks and those 2 stage races, Paddy proved himself to be one of the strongest riders in the Asia-Pacific region. He won stages on tops of mountains, he won bunch sprints, he basically tore everyone a new one and proved to us all that he was worthy of a professional contract. 2 years later, Paddy did get his first World Tour contract with Cannondale Drapac. Since then, he's ridden for BMC, he's ridden for CCC, and he's currently riding for the Israel Premier Tech team and has this year proven himself to be on another level. The year didn't start out well though. Paddy broke his collarbone in a crash in Provence in February. Since then though, he's come back and proven himself to be back to his winning ways. He won the overall Tour of Turkey and just recently won a stage of the Tour of Romandie. So today I'm getting out for a ride with Paddy Bevin, one of the strongest guys I know, one of the most humble guys I know, and a true Swiss Army knife of professional cycling. We'll chat to you more soon.
Yo, alrighty, bon dia. Welcome to this week's episode of Tristan Take Video. I'm out here riding with Mr. Paddy Bevin, currently riding for Israel Premier Tech. I'm up in Andorra today. I got up here a couple of days ago, just on a real last minute little trip while it's boiling hot down in Girona. It's the middle of May and coming into spring, so it's beautiful and green. It's quite nice to be out riding in places where just a few months ago we were skiing. And today I'm out riding with Paddy. We're talking about Paddy's 2022 so far. Before we leap into 2022, just tell us about your off-season training and how you're feeling at the start of the year leading into that first race.
I had a really good off-season. So COVID, the dirty COVID word, we got stuck in Europe. We didn't get to go home for a couple of years, and at the end of 2021 it was time to get out and get home and do a proper reset. Kind of coincided with a lot of kind of pressure coming off after the Olympics. I'd put a lot into the Olympics and the time trial and the specifics for that, and kind of needed a bit of time just to step away. So went back to my hometown, got put to work by my old man. He's he's crazy. Like mum and dad still working the farm, but yeah, got dragged in. They actually loved it. Took a proper break, got a mountain bike, was doing a bunch of swimming. Physio suggested I get in the pool, and I did, and I actually really enjoyed it. So I'd say December, 75% of my training would have been swimming or mountain biking, and then kind of wound it in once we got back for team camp in January.
You were saying to me before, Paddy was saying how his numbers leading into his first race, which was Tour de Provence, he was doing the highest 10-minute power numbers on a TT bike he's ever done. Tour de Provence went slightly different to what you planned. What happened? You had the opening TT and...
Look, off the pace in the opening time trial, a bit of a mechanical issue, a bit of a first race of the year issue, and anyway, it didn't go well. And then first road stage, crosswinds, big mess, crashed, broke my collarbone, and ended up in hospital day 2 of 2022.
How bad was the break? Was it one of those, like you knew straight away it was broken, but it didn't completely screw you, or what were you thinking?
I thought straight away it was broken. It definitely hit the ground at a funny angle. Felt it go. The race doctor straight away was like, nope, broken quite badly. 2/3 of the way along in the end. Got operated on in Girona 2 days later.
And then it was back up to Andorra to recover.
Yep, my partner flew in. She was actually due to come in a few weeks later. She jumped on a plane basically that day and ended up meeting me in Girona, and we, recovery in Andorra. In the end, it was about 7 days completely off. Then built it up really slowly, had another 3 weeks indoors, and then I had about 2.5 weeks outdoors before going to Turkey.
Wow, and then it was off to Turkey straight away.
Yeah.
So we just gotten to the top of Lake Alina here, a climb, probably one of the hardest climbs in Andorra, I reckon. We're up at about 1900 meters and we've just done 50 minutes of climbing to get up here. Just tell us then, so you were in Andorra and you were training on the trainer quite a bit. Did you come into Turkey feeling like, okay, I'm really ready to get back on it now? Or what was the feeling coming into Turkey and then to end up with the result?
Honestly, Turkey was more like, let's just get some racing back in the legs. I was not dreaming of a result there, not really going for a result other than you can try and, you're fit, you're racing, you're going for a result. But definitely for me, coming off the broken collarbone, hadn't done a lot of training, hadn't done a lot of hours. I was like, it's just going to be a, let's get the ball back rolling. Originally the team wanted to send me to Basque Country, which is, I could not think of a worse race to come back in for post injury. So,
for those of you who don't know Basque, it's like this or it's like this, and it's raining most of the time.
Yeah, so I dipped out of Basque and they sent me to Turkey, and Turkey just went really well. Look, there was the mountain finish on day 3, kind of dipped, dived, dodged as much as I could. A few crashes, bit of chaos. Just was kind of like, oh, we'll get through to the hilltop and see how it goes.
And Sepulveda took that stage 3, but then in stage 7, your team just lit it up. I think Alex Dowsett put out a vlog about pretty much lighting it up and setting up Paddy for the win. You guys went quite a bit earlier than you'd planned. Tell us about, the sort of plan, non-plan there.
Well, the plan was to get separation, which is pretty hard when you have to do it from the front. There was no kind of ambush, there was no luck, there was nothing other than we had to kind of rip it apart. So we knew steep part at the bottom of the climb, tough climb, few kickers afterwards. Either it's going to be chaos from the bottom and we can try and profit off that as it gets messy, or try and get away late.
Yeah.
What we ended up with was neither of those. We kind of took it up from the bottom. There was a bit of a drag race between teams to try and keep their riders out of trouble, and that basically lent itself towards, hey, if we're going to go on the steep part with 35k to go. There was just a moment there where it was like, well, we're either going to profit off my teammates' work, or if we don't go now, it won't happen. So just kind of let it rip where we did, and it got separation. And
the only people to come with you were Jay Vine and Nico Ede.
Yeah, played a bit of NRS special coming into the finish.
Tour of Tasmania back in about 2014.
There was a lot of moving parts, and it definitely didn't play out like I thought it was going to play out, but it played out for a stage win and some time. So
and the overall.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun.
So we're just riding up La Colmea now, almost at the top here. Just wanted to ask you, just ducking back a little while, back to say COVID year 2020, you were commenting to me before about how it really screwed things around. As a rider who likes to train for a specific race and then having races canned, tell me more of that experience.
Some guys suffered, some guys went really well. I suffered. It's not one of those things you can point fingers at. It's just like, it was just a comedy of errors for me. Before last off season, that was the last time I went home, because as it got really bad, doctor in Italy, he called me and said, look, don't listen to what anyone's saying. This is not days, this is not weeks, this is going to be months. And I was really thankful for that. So I ended up going home, but came back and kind of built my whole season around the World's Time Trial and then the Giro. I got pulled out of the Giro at the 11th hour, was 10th at Worlds, so I was good in the TT. 2021 kind of started the same. I hit a race program kind of January through July and didn't hit a single race. I think I hit one race.
So that makes training for that like impossible.
Does.
Yeah.
And you get left-footed and you just get further and further away instead of closer and closer to form. It was just one of those things, like you suffered, like I hate the word unprecedented, but it was unprecedented.
Yeah.
Just kind of didn't really come right. Had moments in 2021 where I was really good. Didn't manage to convert that into results, but I was very good at Romandie. I was second and third on a couple of stages, and then it was helicoptered into the Giro at the last minute and kind of was pretty good for Dan throughout the opening of the race as he was riding GC, and I was fifth on one of the sprint stages. And once again, as you come in late and you already had form coming in, it's very hard to hold your form for months, and kind of definitely tailed off towards the end of that. But that was kind of the closing of the first part of the season.
So that's interesting. So yeah, it's an indicator for you guys that like pro cyclists don't always just get their race program at the start of the year and stick with it. There's crashes and there's injuries and there's sort of changes in plans, and COVID really threw a spanner in the works there, and you got to kind of make make do, make the best of a bad situation.
Yeah, and often for some guys went really well. Some guys had the best results. They kind of ended up in situations they probably wouldn't have found themselves in outside of COVID and converted that to results. And then the flip side of that is guys got further and further away from having form, and that's kind of where I was for a while, trying to battle on to get form and get racing and get results. And it's not easy to piece it together on a sport that's already got a lot of moving parts. And then you start spinning the wheel for kind of where you're going for racing next. Makes it pretty hard, and it is what it is. That's the job we do, and it was kind of, for me, it was another aspect that made it very hard to kind of focus and target any kind of results.
Alrighty, so we've just come across the little gravel section at the Lac de Angolastas there. That was frozen a few months ago, but now it's nice and summery, as you can see. Now we're making our way up Els Cortals, which is a brutal climb. So you used to be really big on the TTs. Time trial was a big part of your skill set. Second at the Vuelta behind Roglic in the time trial stage 2019. Fourth at Worlds in 2019 as well. And then since then, let time trialing take a bit of a backseat. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so after the Olympics last year, the time trial there was a big focus for me. Yeah, you kind of put a lot of effort in, and it takes a lot of control and a lot of specific training, and at the detriment to other parts of your cycling, and kind of just felt like it was time to kind of open back up on some of the other racing. There's a lot of other race days, and the Olympics went okay. I was 10th, which, okay, it's 10th at the Olympics, but yeah, it was just kind of time to explore some other racing, and the time trialing stuff was frustrating, you know. Power got better and the results got worse, so
yeah, you got to work so hard on it, don't you?
Kind of, there's so many parts now, and it's become such an arms race with equipment that it's so hard. So I think mentally switching off has been really good. It's been a refresh. I think you've already seen that in the results for me, both Turkey and Romandie, which were quite a variety of results already, but away from the TT rig. So
yeah,
I don't know, change is as good as a holiday.
Yeah, true. Speaking of holidays, let's keep riding our bicycles. So we're just coming up the base of our last climb. This is Col de Béchelis. Let's just bring us up to where we are now. So a couple of weeks ago, you got back from the Tour de Romandie, where you won stage 3, first World Tour win of the year. Would you call it one of your biggest victories? For sure. I mean, a stage of Romandie is massive. Were you pretty confident coming into Romandie that you could do something, or?
Yeah, so Romandie had 3 stages. The first 3 stages were all kind of between being punchy and a reduced sprint. The first day definitely didn't work out. The guys went ballistic from the bottom of this like 2K climb, and I could do nothing else other than not lose time.
Yeah.
Next day, it's big tailwind sprint. There was just a mess and didn't really get involved, got out of position, and it just kind of couldn't fix it in the tailwind. And then finally day 3, we got a clean run at the finish line and made it count. Had a couple of tough 4, 5K climbs. One was quite gentle and the other one had a steep pitch at the bottom, but enough to kind of shell half the bunch and reduce the numbers.
And that suits you quite well, those like climby, sprinty days. That's the kind of rider you are. You've always been.
I've never had a lead out, so often do well when sprinters are there, but the lead out riders aren't.
So you're sort of freelancing.
Yeah, and that day INEOS had 3 guys for Haig, and we rode the finish 120k to go and had it
So
in my
you
mind.
knew the finish.
Yeah, well, everyone did,
Yeah.
which was kind of funny the way it played out, but went long and made it look kind of done deal.
Yeah, so you came into the last corner, sort of second wheel, third wheel?
Third wheel, yeah. In my mind was going to have to fight to get open wind, because I thought, oh, everyone's going, and then everyone kind of balked.
Yeah,
And it
everyone
being-
sort of looked around,
It
yeah.
was 300 metres to go, which
Too far.
I guess for some, and then I was like, well, happy days.
You looked very calm and collected in the sprint. You don't sprint with a wild style. Tell us, how much power did you put out to get that gap and to hold it?
And yeah, so I copped a bit of shit because people thought, oh, it looked easy. No, the sprint was, I think I peaked at 1450 watts. I think I averaged just under 1300 for 20 seconds, just around 20 seconds, just under 20 seconds. So yeah, I don't
That's what you need to do to get
Yeah.
a world tour win.
need to throw the bike wildly.
Yeah.
We're going from A to B, you know. So,
That's the simplest way of putting
Yeah.
it. Crossing the line, was that sort of confirmation for you? Like, yeah, I've had good form, Turkey was great.
yeah.
This is a beautiful win.
Yeah, it was a much better win. Like, let's be honest, it was a World Tour win. Out of a reduced bunch, there was kind of no questions really. It was a clean bunch sprint of those who made it over the climbs, and you know, you won it. So that's the kind of results I want to be transferring now into results where I've been consistently, you know, seconds, thirds, fourths on those days.
Yeah.
Quite hard to win. There's always fast guys left, but
Yeah.
trying to work that now to be more of a goal instead of a, oh, I'm here after some good time trial form.
Sweet. So we've just kind of finished off our little ride. We've done about close to 4 hours now, actually. But only about 85Ks, such as the riding here in Andorra, where it's bloody bergy. We've done maybe 2,500 metres or so. If you want to see the ride, it's down on Strava, which I'll put a link to my Strava down here. I don't think Paddy's a big Strava. Oh, no, you like Strava.
Not so much.
Not so much.
But also, it's going to give away the fact that we rode neither core towers nor Bicheli's fully to the top. So don't let the truth get in the way of the story.
So don't look at the Strava then.
Lots of climbing, it's all.
We did enough climbing to make it worthwhile. Before we go, just tell us, so you are now in Andorra for a little bit longer, and then this Sunday, so in a few days, you're off to the Tour of Norway.
Tour of Norway and then Tour Swiss. So that's the next block. This block was split in two parts. I had Turkey, Romandie, and then Norway, Swiss, which is great racing. Looking forward to both Norway and Switzerland. Both got some stages that are good for me. It's always good. I've enjoyed Norway before. I've had some good results at Swiss before, so it's good times.
Yeah, sick. Yeah, and the weather's nice and training's going well. It's nice to be out in summer kit. Thanks so much for the ride today. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed that, make sure to give it a big like. And if you didn't enjoy it, give it a big dislike. Do what you guys want. We will see you in the next episode of Twist and Take video very, very soon. All right, adieu.